Level 989.
Welcome to a 989 on Health Extra. These quick supplements should help ease any withdrawal symptoms you may experience while waiting for our next full episode. So, Mike, what's on today's agenda?
We've received another great topic request from a listener. This week's question is, my aunt was recently diagnosed with some kind of severe anemia. She got really sick. What's up with that? Alright, anemia. I think most people are aware of anemia in a pretty general way, as just, if your body's low on iron, you'll feel tired. And it's typically thought of as primarily a problem for women, due to the regular blood loss of a woman's menstrual cycle. The official definition of anemia, according to the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute, is as follows. Quote, anemia is a condition in which your blood has a lower than normal amount of red blood cells, or hemoglobin. If you have anemia, your body does not get enough oxygen-rich blood. This can cause you to feel tired or weak. You may also have shortness of breath, dizziness, headaches, or an irregular heartbeat. End quote. But wait, no mention of iron? And what exactly is hemoglobin? Well, to quote those same smart folks at the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute again, hemoglobin is an iron-rich protein that helps red blood cells carry oxygen from the lungs to the rest of the body. And they go on to say, there are many types and causes of anemia. Some people are at a higher risk, including women during their menstrual periods and pregnancy, and people who donate blood frequently, do not get enough iron or certain vitamins, or take certain medications or treatments, such as chemotherapy for cancer. So in my research, anemia is a blood thing, it's an oxygen thing. I'm not sure how or when it became so strongly connected to iron in the public consciousness. Don't get me wrong, iron plays an important role, but a lot of it comes down to the red blood cells. Like most things that are health-related, ultimately anemia is all about complex chemistry, or actually some very important elements, specifically atoms of iron and oxygen. So when the iron in our blood meets the oxygen in our lungs, the two cling together. But very conveniently, for all of us red-blooded life forms, they cling together in a very fragile connection, just exactly strong enough to be carried along to all our body tissues, but not so strong it becomes trapped in the blood. There's a great video from the BBC, you can watch it on YouTube, with scientist Brian Cox doing a quick 2.5-minute explanation of iron in the blood that does a very good job of explaining how this tenuous bond between iron and oxygen works. I highly recommend you check it out. As always, you will find the link in the show notes. There are a surprising number of types and causes of anemia with varying symptoms. First up, we have megaloblastic anemia, where a lack of B vitamins lead to oversized, immature red blood cells. These puffed up red blood cells are very short-lived compared to a normal blood cell, and die off much sooner than the typical 3 to 4 months that a red blood cell would typically survive. The problem with this sort of anemia is, if you've got this particular problem, it may be due to intestinal inflammation, which is interfering with the proper absorption of B vitamins. You could be eating the recommended amount of B vitamins every day, but not enough of it is absorbing. If this was the case, you might be able to simply take additional B vitamins to counter this, but in some cases, surgery is needed to repair a damaged portion of your digestive tract. Symptoms of megaloblastic anemia include enlarged tongue that is shiny, red, and sore. You might also experience nausea and diarrhea, burning sensations in the hands or feet, clumsiness, and other muscular control difficulties. If this condition goes untreated, it can damage your nervous system and put excess stress on your heart. Sickle cell anemia is similar in some ways to the megaloblastic, in that there's something wrong with the shape of the blood cells. Imagine a normal blood cell as a full moon, and a sickled cell as a crescent moon. Round cells, they work well as they flow through the body. They can bounce off other objects. But a bent and pointy cell, a sickled cell, can tangle together and form blockages. Like the megaloblastic cells, sickled cells live only for a short time, typically only about 20 days, and can more easily form blood clots. And this can kill the tissue wherever this happens. And there's really no good place in the body to start killing tissue at random. Sickle cell anemia can lead to liver damage, gallstones, fast heartbeat, trouble breathing, enlargement of the spleen, lung blockages and infections, swelling and numbness in the hands and feet. Symptoms also include congestive heart failure, where your heart becomes unable to pump forcefully enough to maintain proper blood flow. Treatment options for sickle cell anemia aren't great. There are some medications, vitamins help, but there's no cure. Avoiding strenuous activities can help, avoiding high altitudes can help, and a bone marrow transplant is an option, but it's pretty difficult to find a donor. Another flavor of anemia is known as thalassemia. This one is a genetic issue, something you're just born with, where your body naturally has a lower amount of red blood cells and therefore less hemoglobin. Along with all of the typical symptoms of anemia, this one comes with a bonus of causing impaired growth in children and something called invasion of bone. Basically bones that are too wide, thin, and brittle, and thalassemia can also lead to heart failure. The treatment options are minimal, blood transfusions. But there's an interesting side effect to getting frequent blood transfusions, which is too much iron in your body. So special steps must be taken to remove the excess iron. Again, bone marrow transplants can help. Next up is aplastic anemia. And this is directly due to problems with your bone marrow. We don't often think about where blood comes from, but it turns out blood is made by our bones, specifically in the marrow. Our bones don't just support our bodies. They're not hard, dead things. They're alive and they're busy working. Bones do a lot of different jobs. So if your body is damaged by radiation, chemicals, or drugs, you might end up with aplastic anemia. Also, diseases like hepatitis C and lupus can eventually lead to aplastic anemia. The symptoms are pale skin, weakness, difficulty breathing, recurring or multiple infections, and something called petechiae, which look like a rash of red freckles. They're actually tiny hemorrhages in the skin, and an increased tendency to bleed, especially in the mouth. Aplastic anemia is pretty harsh because you're not just popping a vitamin or a mineral supplement to improve your condition. The treatment for aplastic anemia is a bone marrow transplant. That's it. And I've been saving it for last. Iron deficiency anemia is real and can happen for many reasons, such as you're not getting enough iron from your food. This is partially because only 5 to 10% of the iron you eat is actually absorbed. So even if every day you ate foods containing the 19 milligrams of iron you need on any given day, only 1 to 2 milligrams of that can be absorbed by your body. Because as often as it can, your body tries to recycle the iron it already has. This makes increasing your iron levels difficult if they've dropped dangerously low. And you can't just pop a handful of iron pills. Too much iron can cause constipation, stomach pain, nausea, and vomiting, and can cause fatal damage to the brain and liver. Too little iron in your body, well, it's a tricky condition to have. It's frequently asymptomatic. That's doctor talk for no symptoms. So the negative impacts can sneak up on you, and suddenly you have a severe problem that's been slowly, silently building. Once symptoms do finally appear, you can expect things like pale skin, fatigue, cold intolerance, irritability, brittle hair, changes to your fingernails, such as spoon-shaped or ridged nails, tongue inflammation, irregularities in menstruation, delayed healing, fast heartbeat, trouble breathing, and fainting. The typical treatment is to eat foods high in iron, such as shellfish, spinach, liver, red meat, or to take iron supplements. There are even liquid iron mixtures you can drink, even though they can stain your teeth. But again, the body absorbs only small amounts of iron each day, so it can take a while to get up to the desired amount in the blood. Before I researched for this question, anemia seemed like such a basic, simple illness with an easy solution. But it turns out that, like most health concerns, it's a lot more complex than we realize. Thanks again to our great listeners for sending in suggestions. If you'd like to send in your own topic for consideration, head on over to level989.com/contact and make it so.
That's all for now. You can find links to read more about today's topics at level989.com. Why not take a moment to rate or review us in iTunes, or give us a mention on social media? We can't help everyone if they don't know we exist. Don't rely on us as an alternative to medical advice from a professional healthcare provider. For the full disclaimer, please see our website. Thanks for listening, and now, go health yourself.